I'm going to make a bangle and set a pearl in it. So get your bangle size, inside diameter in millimeters, add the thickness of the metal that you're using, in this case it's 2 millimeter round wire, multiply by 3.14. Now I'm going to do something different on the end, so I'm going to add 6 millimeters to that, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Normally, you would cut your wire with your saw, file the ends flat, form it around, and solder it. This one's slightly different. I'm going to forge the ends to half their thickness. This wire is half hard, so I don't have to anneal it to do that. And I only want about 5 mil on the ends to forge, so I'm going to mark that with my texture, my Sharpie. Now if you have a rolling mill, you can use your rolling mill to step roll this on the end and you'll have a nice flat area. If you don't have a rolling mill, just use your planishing hammer and hit this on a steel block, anvil, whatever you have. So I have my ends forged and I want to file just flat on the sides that are going to touch. Because I'm going to solder the edges together for a change. So this flat and the opposite flat. And if you file this down so that it's even with the edge of your round wire, then that's what I want. So I want this side flat, and then we're going to file that half round. I'll form this around your bracelet mandrel. Initially you could just push it with your fingers. And like I say, we want the two flat edges to line up. So now I'll use my rawhide hammer, and I'm actually going to have to twist these a little bit so that they line up properly. Now manipulate these until the inside lines up very nicely so that you can solder it. And we're going to use hard solder for that, and we're going to solder it on the inside. So mix up your flux. Now you could either hold this way and solder it on top, Gabriella, or you could put it this way and hold it against your charcoal block. Oftentimes I'll put it against the charcoal block just because I like the fact that the charcoal reflects the heat back, so it gets a little bit hotter than it would normally. So just your regular old neutral flame. And this is fairly thin because I've hammered it fairly thin, so it shouldn't take long for that to come up to temperature. So just heat it at the join, and I'm tucking my solder so that it touches the two. Like that. So I just dropped it down in between. I'm just circling because I want both of these to be the same temperature. So the flux has gone clear. The metal is a dull red, and there goes the solder. So that's what I wanted. I'm going to put just a little more in with my solder pick. So there, quench it and pickle it. So now you can see I've got a thin solder line on this side that doesn't need any cleaning up, and the solder line on this side is nice enough that we can just polish it once it's pickled and cleaned up. I hallmark this at this point, and I'm going to set a pearl up here on top. So round this up on your bracelet mandrel with your rawhide hammer. Have a look, make sure it's as flat as you want just by putting it on your bench. If it has a slight wowie in it, you can just hit it against your wooden block. Now I'm going to set a pearl right where these overlap. And rather than solder a pearl cup in, I'm going to take one of my dapping punches and I'm just going to make a depression so that I can solder my square wire directly into there. So I'm just going to use my 1mm drill bit and put a small depression in the middle of the other depression so that when I solder the square wire in, it'll have a place to sit. Don't go all the way through, and you'll have to be careful that you don't, because you will have thinned this out by using the doming punch. File your square wire flat. Put a small amount of flux in the depression. Now I'm going to use easy solder on this one because I don't want that joint to open up. And just a small piece because it shouldn't take much. So place it with your flux brush. Once again, warm it up just until the flux dries out. Make sure that your solder stays where you want it. In this case, touching both the wire and the base. And I'm just going to circle that area, just lightly brushing the square wire. And the flux will go clear and the solder will flow. Like that. So quench it in water. Have a look. You should be able to see that nice curve of the solder right there. You can see the pearl peg is bent a little bit. It's okay, we can just grab it with our pliers and straighten it up. So I'm going to clip that to length, twist it, and pickle it. So we're out of the tumbler. It's all polished. Mix your glue, 5-minute epoxy. Always check your pearl first to see if the fit is correct. If it is, glue the pearl on, and that's it. just slightly different. Another idea. Ciao.